Today is Wednesday, January 15th, 2020. My name is Edna Sussman. I'm a reference librarian at the Half Hollow Hills Community Library in Dix Hills, New York. We're interviewing Robert S. Nieves here at the Long Island State Veterans Home in Stony Brook, New York, a Vietnam Air Force veteran, as part of our Veterans Testimonial Project and in collaboration with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. Thank you so much, Bob, for your service and for participating in our project today.
You're welcome.
Bob, where and when were you born?
I was born in Flushing, New York, January 7th, 1950.
Oh, happy belated. And who were your parents, their names, and what did they do?
Ada Nieves. My mother was a telephone operator, and my father, Ralph Nieves, was in the Army Air Corps, which became the Air Force.
Mm-hmm. In World War II?
Right, yes.
Where did he serve, do you know?
Philippines.
Mm-hmm. And he came home, and so you were born after he came home?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any siblings, and what are their names and genders?
Yes, Betty Lou Nieves, her name now is Betty Lou Gamartin, and my sister Phyllis, her name was Phyllis Smith after she got married, and Betty Lou was 11 years older than me, and Phyllis passed away, but she was 7 years older than me.
Were either of them in the service?
No. Mm-hmm. Betty Lou's husband he was Navy.
Really?
Yeah.
During what period, do you know?
1965, somewhere in there.
So the beginning of Vietnam kind of era.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So what were you doing before you entered the service?
High school.
High school. Did you finish?
Yes, I took a test in high school, which gave me an aptitude test of the different branches of the service, and it's an aptitude test what categories I would fit in, what I want. So I decided, I've thought of the Navy, but I don't think of staying on the water for a year.
Really?
Okay, so I did join the Air Force, and I liked it.
So this was right after high school you went in, you enlisted?
I went in, I graduated June 26th and went in July 5th.
Wow.
I spent a week at a friend's house out in the Hamptons.
Mm-hmm.
My parents called me and told me they wanted me. So I cut the vacation short and got enlisted and sworn in at Fort Hamilton.
What made you pick the Air Force? So Navy on the ship wasn't right, but for you, but why
Well,
Air
I liked
Force?
airplanes.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I would have become a pilot if I had an opportunity to, but I didn't. So I worked on aerospace ground power equipment, which is the flight line equipment that supports all the obligations on the aircraft.
Oh, wow. So before we get into more detail of what exactly you did, what happened when you departed for training camp? That was like a week after you finished school or you went on vacation?
Right, correct. I went into, they sent me out to Texas, to Amarillo, which there was two basic training facilities, Amarillo and Lackland Air Force Base.
Oh, yeah.
Amarillo closed shortly after my graduation from the basic training, and Lackland is the only facility now down in Texas for Air Force.
So you did your basic in Lackland or Amarillo?
Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, okay. So how long was the training? About
3 months.
Wow, 3 months. Did you get specialized training in addition to basic?
I went in under a med-rep program. I was then overweight, and they helped me lose the weight, and I qualified. And then I got assigned to Schnutfield in Illinois for specialized training.
So what was the specialized training for?
To work on aircraft equipment that's on the ground.
Was that like fixing it or maintaining it or everything?
Maintaining equipment that's used to maintain the aircraft while it's on the ground.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And also to load bombs on it and stuff like that.
So how long was the basic at Amarillo? How long were you there?
About 3 months.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you said that. So then when you went to the specialized training, much longer was that?
About 2 months.
Now, how was the training for you? What was it like adjusting to military life? And
I don't think I had any problems adjusting to it.
food and social, was there any social life? Barracks, all that stuff?
Yeah.
It was okay?
It was okay. I mean, it was basic training, so you had to follow the rules.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any problem with that. Some people do, and they have you would get washed out.
Oh. You mean they weed you out?
They weed you out if they don't think you have the capabilities of accepting the responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And they figured that out by the time you're done with the basic training, they would weed you out.
Okay.
If not at that time, at the time that you're going through training for a specific function, mm-hmm. they think you don't cut it, they weed you out.
Huh. Now, did you express an interest in mechanical and working with the planes and equipment?
Well, according to the test they gave me, I was qualified to do mechanical, electrical, and office.
Oh, okay.
So they used me for mechanical, electrical, not for functioning as a male secretary.
Yeah. How did you like it?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So you were 2 months there. What city was it again? Where was it? The specialized training?
Rantoul, Illinois, Chinook Field.
Chinook Field. So after those 2 months, then what happened? Where did you go?
Then they decide where to send you. Mm-hmm. And they sent me to Loring Air Force Base.
Where is that?
Maine.
Maine.
Top of Maine.
To do what?
What I
work on the planes. Oh, okay. How long were you there?
Another 3 or 4 months, and they sent me out to MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, which is one of the Strike Command bases, but it was used for training me to go over to Vietnam.
When did you find that out? I mean, you knew that once you were in Florida that was going to be your destination, Vietnam?
I knew it once I left Maine.
You did?
That was going to be my destination.
Okay.
And I loved, if you figure it out, I lived in New York. Mm-hmm. You know the weather of New York.
Right.
They sent me to Texas, which was hot, arid
Right.
Texas. They showed us, when you first get to the base, they say, look out there. And all you see is sand. Mm-hmm. And they say, if you want to leave, if you want to go AWOL, you can go AWOL. We'll give you 3 days before we even start looking for you.
Why would they say that?
Because the desert is so long, for 3 days you couldn't make it to the end of it.
Wow.
You couldn't make it to the end of it, so that was their challenge. You want to leave, go now.
Wow.
But I went from arid, hot weather to Rantoul, Illinois, which is like 125 miles below Chicago.
Right.
So that weather was chilly from September to November.
They have like 4 seasons in Illinois,
so
right?
I left there in reasonably cold weather, and they sent me to Loring Air Force Base, which in July they have snow left over from the season.
In Maine, really?
Right.
Huh.
So what's coincidental or what happened to me was the day I arrived at Loring Air Force Base in Caribou, Maine, mm-hmm. there was a plane that crashed on the base.
Oh.
And a nurse, where I was stationed in Illinois, asked me to say hello to a girlfriend that was a nurse there. So I looked up the nurse, I get there, and she says, you got to celebrate with us. My friend, who was in the house, is the pilot of the plane that crashed the same day. So,
Did he make it?
He's talking to me. They're celebrating that he made it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So okay. The base had 6 feet of snow covering on the base. Wow. Below the plane was railroad tracks. Mm-hmm. The plane landed flat on the snow, never getting sparked from the railroad tracks.
Wow.
If it was a different place, different time, the plane would have instantly exploded because it was a KC-135, fully filled, 144,000 gallons of fuel.
Whoa. Wow.
It hit, it cracked open, the fuel leaked out all over the snow and
Snow,
everything.
yeah.
Never caught a spark. In fact, the gunner that controls the boom for delivering the fuel, he left the plane, and they didn't find him at first. He went to run and use the phone to tell his wife the plane crashed, but he was all right.
Oh, wow.
That was the day I got there.
Jeez.
The day after I left that base, B-52 bomber crashed in the woods, killing the entire crew.
Oh. Now, why does this happen? Because of the coldness or visibility?
Just randomness. I mean,
Wow.
there was no intention behind it. There was no terrorist type thing back in the day.
Right.
It just happened.
Accident. Wow. That's freaky.
Yeah.
You arrive and you
So
leave.
those were the dates that I was covered by. So that's how I know what the dates were.
Right. Huh. So then when you went to Florida, how long were you in Florida?
23 days TDY, temporary duty.
Okay. Doing similar things.
I was doing similar things, but they wanted me to get, I think, more acclimated with the weather, is what I have to say, because that base has all branches of the service on it.
In Florida?
In Florida. It's called the Strike Command.
What does that mean, Strike Command?
I don't know if it's an acronym or not, but it's a Strike Command, and all branches of the service are supposed to be able to mobilize to get anywhere in the world in 24 hours or less.
Oh.
So if some disturbance happens in the Philippines and they need American response right away, we got to respond within 24 hours or less.
So they teach you that in the Strike Command base?
That was taught at the base.
Yeah.
Now that's not what I was taught, because I was just there to prepare for going to Vietnam.
I see. Okay. What year was that? Do you remember?
1969, December 3rd is when I left for Vietnam.
Okay. So, what are some of the memories you have of serving abroad? First of all, how did you get there? By plane they took you, or?
We got there by plane. We went from, while I was on leave, and I went from New York Airport, Kennedy, flew to Seattle, Washington, which McCord Air Force Base is there.
Okay.
Left from McCord Air Force Base when I got there, and we flew up to Fairbanks, Alaska. From there, we were flown by Tiger Airlines to Vietnam, which was an 18-hour flight.
Straight, no stopping, 18 hours?
Only stopping from Washington, McCord Air Force Base, to Fairbanks, and then straight through.
Wow. Huh. So, what happened once you landed there? What sort of duties and...
Well, as I was landing at Cameron Bay, Vietnam, it was after the Tet Offensive of 1968 on that base. So as I was landing, there was rockets, and they told us to close all the shades on the aircraft. And you could see there was something going on outside your window. We landed, and they took us off the plane. We went and met our unit. Then they allowed us to go take showers and whatever, and get acclimated in the unit. Now,
Well, your unit was there on the air base. You stayed, basically.
right, and we stayed with the unit on Cameron Bay.
Yeah.
And the day I got there, I got total culture shock. There were ladies, cleaning the showers when I got there.
Oh.
So, if you can picture, you're standing there taking a shower,
Oh,
and
geez.
a lady comes up to your right and goes like this down the wall with a soap sponge.
While you're in there?
Oh yeah, I mean, things got to carry on, you know. She goes around the other side of me, does the same thing. So I says, okay, this
That's weird.
all right.
Oh, man.
Next, I was taking my shower, ended like around 3 o'clock. All the mamazans that were in there, was about 10 of them, they undress and they take their showers and go home.
Jeez, no one cares. Wow.
I was only, 18 when I joined.
Yeah.
So this time I was about 19.
Yeah.
And complete culture shock.
That really is.
And the other part of the culture shock is whenever they have to relieve themselves, they got those long gowns, looks like an Indian sari.
Yeah.
They just pull over the side of the road and do their business.
You're kidding.
No.
Wow.
That's why they wouldn't service rice over there, because it was all human waste that was fertilizer.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, so
Wow.
the rice came from Texas, though.
Real good.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. I'd never heard that before.
But it was interesting, to say the least, the first few days.
Yeah. So you had like barracks? And
Yeah, I was in a barracks. And they had the mamas on, assigned to you, like, take care of your room.
Oh.
Okay?
One? Yeah.
I mean, you had to pay them, like, minimal amount of money for cleaning your barracks, but it was interesting.
How do you know, how do you know if these people are, good Vietnamese and, not there to spy, or do you feel safe?
You
How
don't
do you
know. You don't know for the most part, but they get checked out who's allowed on base.
Ah,
They get an ID.
okay.
They get paid in piastres, which is their currency, not ours.
Oh,
We get paid with military payment
Script.
scripts, yeah. But it was, the first few days definitely was interesting.
was the food like American food, basically?
Oh, yeah.
On the base was okay?
But if you went if you went on payday to the Airmen's Club or the Officers Club, they would bring in little snails, about that big.
Snails?
Snails. They would cook them. They'd bring in a bush basket to thank us for this, our service,
Yeah.
because they're getting tipped. And they'd bring in the snails, and you'd take a Q-tip and pick each snail out and eat it like pistachio nuts.
Was it good?
It was good, yeah.
Huh.
But that was the thing that happened there,
Yeah,
that you don't
yeah.
get snails in a
No.
bushel basket.
No.
So, and they had drinking there, and they either had music, some sort of entertainment, or it was during the era where blacks and whites had issues.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, civil rights era. Yeah.
Well, this was, slightly before that.
Yes.
So anyway, they would, the black minority would congregate with black, and white would congregate with white. And we got along as far as being we're in the Air Force, okay? But what I'm trying to say is, the different part of it was the black culture had a movement called Mau Mau's,
Yes.
okay, and stuff like that. So they identified with each other. Now the whites, being already Americanized to being, hey, we're the number one, your secondary sort of thought, okay? The black people would come in because they were organized to accept the fact that we're a group also, okay? So you'd have a table like this.
Yeah.
They'd come in and sit down. You're sitting over there. You're the first one at the table. Hey, bro, what's happening? Okay?
Oh,
with the hands,
the
okay?
hands.
Now, you and I are sitting down. Johnny Brown comes over to the table. He goes, hey, bro. He says, what's happening? The whole routine with us. So picture 8 people sitting at a table. Well, they all went through that night.
Wow.
Till you get to the last guy sitting at the table. So the fun part of it was the whites sitting out would say, what are we doing today? Nothing to do here but watch the black element come in and say hello to each other.
So they sat separately. You all sat separately, the whites and the blacks, or no?
For the most part. I mean, there was not segregation.
No.
Okay, definitely not segregation on the part of the military.
Okay.
Okay, but
But they felt as a group, and you felt as a group.
well, they felt as a group of being. There was the black element from the Chicago area that was popular at the time. So they had their unity in that.
Yeah.
Let me just say this: if you were black and you needed $5 and you needed it now, you can go over to another black general and go, hey, bud, how about $5? You gotta give it up. You didn't have that unity among whites.
No. Huh. Wow. In the barracks also, you were all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there was no isolation.
Yeah.
That wasn't World War II.
Yeah.
Okay. I was interviewed before by Newsday
Really?
for the 50th medal for serving in Vietnam.
Nice.
And what I said then, I should say now, was I think the United States was delinquent and still is, that the Vietnam vet was never acknowledged by the Department of Defense as getting injured by Agent Orange
Yeah. Yeah.
as friendly fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a very close friend who I had interviewed. I'm sorry. And he's suffering a lot now with that.
So I was interviewed for that. Also, too, both interviewers from Newsday, black gentlemen. I said to them, I was also upset that being in the Air Force, they had what was called the Tuskegee Airmen,
Yes.
the black element, the pilots. And I was interviewed last year, and when I was interviewed, I said, it's a shame. And my word, simple, that the black pilots weren't acknowledged. Back when the white ones, or non-black group, were acknowledged. And in fact, after I said that, before I said that, they just honored some Tuskegee Airmen about a month before. But just recently, before New Year's, they honored a black Tuskegee Airman in his honor after his passing.
Yeah, and I think I saw that was in Newsday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too little,
Too late. Too late. Yeah.
So,
When you first arrived over there, what happened after you? What did you do? Did you stay mainly on the base?
I stayed mainly on the base. I was assigned the squadron. I was assigned the duty in the AGS shop, Aerospace Ground Power Equipment shop. And as the jobs came in, as the aircraft's ground power equipment needed fixing, I was taught to fix it.
Do you stay on that base during the entire time you were serving?
I stayed on the base until they deactivated the group I was with.
Why did they do that?
It was 1970. They were trying to establish moving out of the country.
Oh.
Okay, so they deactivated one of the groups.
And what happens when you deactivate a group? You come home, or?
They come home. Yeah. There's tactical groups. There's Pacific Air Command groups, and Strategic Air Command groups. And they'll have one of those groups. Like Strategic Air Command had the B-52s, the bombers. They're still using them today. And they would deactivate them from Vietnam. At least that's what people were told. And when they deactivated them, they sent them to either Thailand or Cambodia or Laos.
They didn't. Why didn't they need them there?
Well, they still had bombing raids with B-52s.
Oh.
None of them were assigned Vietnam to ground.
Oh.
Okay, so they would have them come from Thailand, which is probably 30 minutes away.
Wow.
To do the bombing over Vietnam and then leave the area.
Were you close? I mean, did you feel safe over there on your base? Was it?
I felt safe on the base because I was Air Force. There was Army and Marines were embedded in jungle and whatever, and it was tough for them because on an Air Force base you got a room. They had a foxhole.
I see.
Okay. They had a joke about it while I was in the service, and I'll pass this joke, but you couldn't delete it.
I'm not allowed to edit it. We're not. Library of Congress won't let us edit. So if you don't want to say it, it's okay. But
I'll say it was funny, but
okay.
One of the officers in the Army division says, "Gentlemen, I got good news and bad news." I says, "Well, tell us the good news first." Today we get to change underwear after 6 months or 9 months, right? So the guy says, well, that's the good news? What could possibly be the bad news? Bad news. Murphy changed with Hanson, Jones
no.
changed with
Really?
Smith.
God.
But that was a joke.
Okay.
Okay? It was a joke. But it was told to me as being fact at the time, right?
Wow.
So my daughter, when I had children, I told the son to my nephew, told the story to my nephew, and my daughter overheard it, but she was like 9 or 10 years old. She gets 18 years old, she says, Dad, that story you told Jimmy, was that true? So that's how things spread.
That's funny.
So, but the military was, most of it was combat, was in the woods.
How close were you to that? I mean, the base.
The base was right outside of where they were in the woods.
It was.
Yeah.
So did they sometimes come to the base to stay? The U.S. military that was in the field.
Sometimes the military got leave status to come onto the base and whatever.
They got what?
Leave
Leave.
status.
Okay.
Okay, but while they were in the field, they had equipment that was able to determine, the company in Hopper, Long Island made it. It was a box that was put on the back of a Jeep, and they would take clothing from a Viet Cong, and they put this clothing into this box, and it would determine body odor. And they would use this box that when they saw a gorilla up in a tree, they weren't close enough to identify if it was a man or an animal up in a tree. They would use this box because the box would only tell you that a human being was up in a tree by the body odor. Because every animal's body odor is different because the body odor comes from the things we eat. So they would never identify an American in the tree because our body odor would be just different by the foods we're eating versus the food the Viet Cong would eat.
So what, an alarm would go off or what?
No, while they're driving, they would see it and then be able to take sniper action if it was required.
Wow. That's
But,
really interesting.
On the base that I was at, it was, they had rockets and mortars hit the base, and
Did they?
but it was just like a spring shower, to be mild about it, okay, because nobody really got injured during that. They may have taken out a plane on the runway or whatever, but
Did you have to take cover? Was there a place to be safe?
there was a augmentee shelters.
A what?
They called it augmentee. You go in, but all of us were assigned M16 rifles, but they were in this room, which was the shelter. So if we got called to help because there was something going on serious outside or just within the base boundaries, the augmentees would know, go get your rifle.
Oh, I see. So you learned in basic, everyone had to learn how to shoot, how to use a rifle.
Right.
And did you have to carry that around all the time?
No, it was in the augmentee shelter.
Oh, I see.
barracks.
Okay.
There was one assigned to me, but they had a rotation on it too. So let's say the rotation for me was Tuesday. It was a Tuesday, and they called the alarm for augmentees. Those Tuesday representatives would go and get the rifle.
Oh, I see. Okay. Did you get, I mean, Viet Cong or, people coming close to the base?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And we had people working on the base that were Vietnamese. Viet Cong and Vietnamese, it's like telling the Democrats outside this room, or the Republicans.
Right.
Okay? We all look the same.
Right.
Well, in their culture, they all look the same. Okay? And there's a lot of black market in Vietnam at the time, which the woman always wanted to get cigarettes. So a GI, if he wanted to, would get cigarettes in the Airman's Club or in the commissary, and they'd give it to him, and the woman would carry it out in her hair. They had Vietnamese women had extremely long hair because they never cut it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they would take the cigarette pack, like a Marlboro pack, and roll it in their hair. Now they can get as much as a carton in their hair without even being seen.
Now, what, they were trying to smuggle it to somewhere? Or?
Right, it was black market, because the GI could buy a pack of cigarettes there for $1.50 or $15 a carton. And you know, the prices back here in 1968 were more like $12 or $15 a carton. It was only $1.50. Ratio-wise.
Right.
And so they would take it back. They'd give me a story. Grandpa's birthday's tomorrow. Can you help me get a carton of cigarettes? Okay.
So they paid you? Or what? How did you get paid back?
They would pay us whatever we were buying it for.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, but
Okay. But then they sold it for a lot
they sold
more.
it for whatever they can get it for.
Oh, I see. Huh.
So, but
Did you have, were there injured or casualties on nearby or on your base? Or
there were
things like that?
not too many on the base. I mean, the hospital, Cameron Bay Hospital was there.
Oh,
Okay, and it had a big H on the roof that said it was hospital.
so they weren't supposed to hit that?
They weren't supposed to, but they had a Zappa attack with the sachets, attaché cases,
Oh,
with weapons in it, you know, bomb built into it. They were coming over the bridge one time. Oh, there was water right there, and somehow they cut the lights off inside the hospital.
well, who did?
The enemy.
Okay.
Okay, but whenever they cut the lights or had opportunity to cut the lights, automatic systems would go turn everything back on.
Oh,
And we had what was called an NF2 light cart, which is like you see on the highways here, that light the highway at night for work areas.
oh yeah.
They had them over there around this bridge. They were all connected, so they all went on at the same time. Now these 2 or 3 Zappa attackers were trying to get to the hospital with their satchels
To bomb the hospital?
to bomb the hospital, but instead they had security on that bridge. Then when those lights went on, they opened fire, shooting at the water, and they blew these guys up with their own weapons.
Wow. Huh, that's amazing.
But,
So they deterred the whole attack on the
right,
hospital?
and the base was, while I was there was minor attacks, but nothing
Yeah.
to any substantial loss.
So, so you didn't witness casualties or too much destruction on the base?
No, the worst casualty that I had knowledge of was a guy was extended 10 days in his duty because somebody that was supposed to replace him had a family member die in the States, and they gave him a 10-day extension on his leave. And this guy was supposed to go home 10 days earlier, was processing from the chow hall to the human services, human relations, resources, where you'd go check out. He was walking across that field to process, because in 2 or 3 days he was supposed to fly back to America. And a mortar hit him and cut him in half.
Oh, man.
Okay, so that was the worst situation.
Terrible. Did you know him?
No, I didn't know him, no, but
Wow. How many personnel were on the base, do you think? It was big.
no knowledge of that. It was big.
Big. What kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving, and with whom?
You get camaraderie with your roommates and people you're working with. You also, in that situation, you get camaraderie with some of the people you're trying to protect.
The locals.
The locals, yeah. So you get camaraderie with them.
You didn't go into like villages or towns?
Not the Air Force did.
Yeah.
Okay. The Navy would have bombing runs from ships. So there was every mountain over there is called Charlie's Mountains.
What?
Charlie's Mountain.
Why?
It's easy to call him Dave's, I don't know. But, so every base you were on had a Charlie's Mountains, what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And they had caves built into these mountains where they would have people come out, do their dirty work, and go back to the caves.
The bad guys.
The bad guys. So one day while I was there, they had a bombing raid from a ship. And they had a square, the next morning, they had a 2-block square in the top of this mountain. That's when the Navy bombed it. It was totally taken down to being a square where you could see dirt. Okay, so you look out your room one day, it's all tree-covered mountain. Next day, it looks like it's got a window.
Wow. So there were they got a lot of people in there? Was that the plan?
They were trying to destroy the cave network there.
Yeah. Wow. How were you able to stay in touch with family and friends back home?
Yes, yeah.
How did you do that? There's no email at that time.
No, you get letters and mail because every facility outside the United States has an address that's either with San Francisco or there's different locations throughout the United States that is mailed. So
you got mail and you sent mail.
Right.
Yeah.
But my mail would be sent to, let's say, AFO, something or other, San Francisco. San Francisco would forward it up to where you live.
To home, yeah.
Wherever you send it.
You never, being over there, you never have any off-duty time. You're always on, right? Or did you have
Well, you got off-duty time, but unless you were Army or whatever, where you could get a pass to go downtown like you've seen some of these movies where the people go to the local bars or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Did you do that?
No.
Yeah. I wouldn't have felt safe. But you had all you needed on the base, probably.
As an Air Force personnel, I had Panasonic cameras available to me, Nikon cameras, Ryko binoculars, General Electric refrigerator.
You had everything.
We had the portable refrigerators for your room.
Oh, yeah.
It was about $105 to buy one of them. Cameras, video equipment. Of course, we didn't have the VCRs yet and all of that over there. But
right. So there's really no need to go into town. It was probably safer not to.
it's safer not to, but I mean, if you can adapt to where you're at for what it is, you wanted to take pictures of nature, you had cameras. I could get just as strong, if not stronger, lenses than you can get here.
Wow. Nice.
Back in that day. Now you can get everybody's.
Right.
If you want a German camera or a Panasonic, you can get that anywhere.
Is there anything, so what year when was your service over? How long were you?
Well, my dad passed away while I was in Vietnam.
Oh, really?
He passed away July 29th while I was in.
What year?
1970.
Okay.
And he passed away. The Red Cross called me up to the office. And he said, my dad was in the hospital. I said, excuse me?
Yeah.
He said, your dad's in the hospital back in the States. Your cousin called. And he says, you called me out of a theater of war to tell me my dad's in the hospital, ill or whatever. I said, no, tell me the truth.
Oh, wow.
And he passed away, and my cousin called and let him know, and they sent me back.
They did?
Yeah.
Was that, so you left permanently? You were back?
I left permanently. I didn't know whether I would leave permanently, but they also considered at the time that I was the sole surviving son of my father. So I was supposed to go back to Seattle, Washington, Tacoma Air Force Base, and
your family was in New York?
yeah. So I went back, and I had a congressman, assemblyman, I believe, in Bayshore, Babylon Town Hall. Had an interview with me before I went back to the base, and said, oh, you're sole surviving son? He says, well, let them know, because they can't send you back to Vietnam as sole surviving son. So I did, and I got out on a hardship discharge.
On a what, sorry?
Hardship
Okay.
discharge.
That was 1970?
That was 1970. The discharge date's November 13th.
Okay. So where did you go then? Back home to?
They put me back home, yeah.
And how were you received by family and friends? It must have been hard because your dad had just passed away, but.
I didn't notice anything, erratic about it.
No. How was it readjusting to civilian life?
Yeah, it was all right.
Did you start working then, or what did you do? Did you go back to school, or?
My dad worked for an air conditioning company, so they hired me for a few months.
Uh-huh.
And then I looked and got other work.
You got other work? Doing air conditioning, or?
No, just other type work.
Oh.
First I worked 90 days for the post office.
Mm-hmm.
Then I worked for Bo Walsh and Associates, which did the surveying for the Southwest Sewer District.
Oh, wow.
And from there I went into inspection type work.
Okay, nice. Did you keep in touch with any fellow veterans?
No, I tried to, but not much response. I was writing somebody in Utah,
Mm-hmm.
a female, and lost touch when I went to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Are you a member of any veterans organizations?
I'm with the American Legion, I guess, and not American Legion, Vietnam Veterans of America.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They have a meeting Friday night here.
Oh, that's good. Nice. How did your wartime experiences affect your life, do you think?
I would like to say it affected me in a good way, but that was only until I found out that I had illnesses that were caused by the military.
So you were exposed to Agent Orange? Or
Right.
You were by being in the base there?
By being in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Agent Orange is the toilet, like the weed killer Roundup.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the two basic same chemicals. And they were spraying trees over there so that the fall scene, the autumn, would be there all year round. They would knock this stuff out of the trees because they'd spray it, the leaves would die. Okay, but they were killing their own people with it too. So.
When did you find that out, that that's what they were?
Well, in 2000, I had a diabetic condition already in 2009 that I knew of. But my doctor said, Mr. Nieves, they're now accepting applications towards finding out if you have Agent Orange. And she said that you have congestive heart failure and diabetes. So she suggested that I get interviewed by the VA, New York State Veterans Administration in Riverhead. So I went and I got accepted and I got disability in 2009. I got a $10,000 retroactive to the date I filed, but it was 41 years after I got contracted Agent Orange.
Wow.
With no back pain. And since that, there's other, one was just approved this year, was Blackwater, that was people subject to in Vietnam due to the Agent Orange being in the water.
Blackwater?
Yeah, they used to say you had to be on the base to get Agent Orange contamination. You had to be feet dry in Vietnam. Others were fighting for it because they weren't feet dry, they were in water that contained Agent Orange. Okay? It was drums of that stuff buried at sea and whatever. Okay? So they just approved that this year. Also, they're trying to fight for another illness, which is parasites that are showing up in the liver, that when they get activated, which is maybe 50 years later, when they're activated and they're in your system, they can kill your liver.
Oh, jeez. 50 years later.
Well, they're trying to fight for that now. Congressman was here about 4 weeks ago mentioning that he's fighting for that to be accepted as a condition. It is not yet.
Wow.
So.
How long have you been here at the state home?
I came here the first time in 2015 for rehab. I had an injury, not related to Agent Orange. And I came here in 2015, and they let me stay till 2016. Came in March, and I left in March. Because they said I was covered through temporary. And I left then. When they put me out, I left and went took an apartment on my own, and within a month, I got a mini stroke, a mild stroke, or whatever. And I went back to St. James Nursing Home for a temporary stint. When I was done with that, I went to my daughter's who lived in North Carolina, stayed there a year, came back here in January of 2018, and in January, and I had another circumstance. I went to Stony Brook Hospital March 30th, sometime the end of March, and I got back here April 13th. They put me in here 2018.
18. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have one child?
No, I got 3 daughters and a son.
Oh, okay. Do any live nearby?
My son lives in Portrush Station.
Oh, good. Yeah. Wow. What are some life lessons you learned, Bob, from the military?
I guess working with other people.
Helped you to figure that out?
Well, just the fact that you got to be a team.
Team, yeah. How has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
The military in general, I think, is a necessity. I don't think all the wars that happen are necessary. I would rather see the head of this country and the head of another country sit down and play chess with war components and blow themselves up and leave the incidental people, meaning soldiers, out of the picture.
Yeah.
None of the soldiers that are active in a war today, I don't care who they're for, this country or another one, I'm not talking about terrorists, but just soldiers that are either voluntarily enrolled or drafted, had any part in what the issue is.
Right. Yeah, it's really a shame. War is a shame.
I mean, I'm willing to be a patriot and defend my country. But sometimes in Vietnam, what was never discussed about Vietnam, and I think if you check it out now, there's oil in Vietnam.
Oil.
Oil. Okay? Well, who wants to own the oil fields? Anybody who can get them. Okay? And even if you don't want to own it for yourself, you want to make sure the enemy can't use it. Okay, which is what happened with Kuwait and Iraq and Iran that got us involved in that mess.
Yeah. Is there anything about your service that we haven't covered that you'd like to share? Anything else you remember from that time?
No, it's
You got
just...
it? You think we got covered most of it?
Just at the age of going... One of the situations, I came back to Smithtown for my leave, and my friend, I used to play baseball for a team in Smithtown with James Crest Forest. And,
oh, yeah. I'm in Kings Park. I live in
an
Kings
Old
Park.
Street pub in Smithtown.
Yeah?
And the owner of Old Street Pub, his wife, I think her name was Dorothy. I come back, I ordered a drink, and she says, "Let me see your ID."
No.
I showed her the ID. I wasn't 21 yet. And she says, "Don, he's not 21. He says, "Did he show you a military ID?" She says, "Yeah." He says, "We're serving him." He says, "Besides, he's a neighborhood guy. He was on our baseball team.
Oh.
If anybody wants to arrest us for honoring one of our veterans from our area, let them do it."
Oh, that was nice. That was
But
nice.
still, it was a challenge. Okay, now, I was stationed up in Maine. Laura up there was 21. I was on a Long Air Force Base. The bar outside of it was called the Rendezvous. And they had a sheriff there, sheriff stationed there, sitting there. All he would ask is, he wouldn't say, "How old are you?" "Let me see your military ID."
Oh.
So if you had your military ID, he didn't care whether you were 21 or 18.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
So
Good. That was good.
that's the feeling everybody should have.
Yeah.
Even I don't even agree. I smoked one cigarette, and when I did that, I got taken to the principal's office and told somebody saw me smoking. And the next day, the principal thought he smoked me in the bathroom smoking, whipped me around and found out I wasn't smoking, but his shoes got wet. So, but I don't support smoking.
Right.
But if people want to do it, if you're old enough to go in the military, you should be able to do those things that are legal. Now, if they're legal for somebody who's 21, then it should be legal for somebody who's 18 and willing to serve their country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the other countries outside ours, some of those people serve in the service, they're 13 years old. I mean, or a kid will strap a grenade to himself at 10 years old and beg for candy and pull a pin. So,
Do you have what message would you like to leave for future generations who will hear this interview?
what message? I would say that more countries, all countries, gotta love, learn to love.
That's good advice.
As easy as it is to learn to hate, should be that much more easier.
Yeah.
It should be that much easier to learn to love.
Well, it's very good advice. Thanks, Bob. Thank you so much for your service and for sharing your experiences, good and bad, and all of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for accepting the interview.
It's our honor.